Hello friends, I'm Randy and this is your midweek moment devotional. We're continuing our series where we're talking about the names of God. Today we're going to talk about the name Jehovah Shalom. Now this expression Shalom you may be familiar with, you've heard before, you've heard that expression. I've actually had the opportunity to travel in the Middle East, and I've had the opportunity to go to Israel on 3 separate occasions, and is a term that you hear frequently when you're in what we often call the land of the Bible. People greet each other often with that expression, Shalom. Of course, we know it means peace. It's kind of like in our culture, we might say, hey, what's happening? Have a good day. It's good to see you. But Shalom means peace. There's an example of the term Shalom being used in the scripture. And as we look at this example, you'll find and realize that there's even a much, much deeper meaning to the word and definition of the word. And we'll get into that in a minute. But in Judges chapter 6, we find the story of the children of Israel. They've been delivered from Egypt, and now they find themselves once again being persecuted. Once again, coming under attack from another group of people, actually a couple groups of people, the Midianites and the Amalekites. So what has happened in Judges chapter 1, it says that they did evil in the sight of the Lord, the children of Israel. And what they've actually started to do is worship an idol called Baal. As a result, God has allowed them to fall into the hand of persecution again. And the scripture tells us that every year at harvest time, they would be raided by the Amalekites and the Midianites, and all of their crops, all of their livestock, their sheep, their cattle, their goats, etc., would be taken from them, and they'd be left with very little to survive on their own. And this was going on for some time now, and they began to cry out to God once again, like they always did when they got into trouble. You know, deliver us from the hand of the Midianites and the Amalekites. So the leader at the time was Gideon. Gideon is crying out to God, and he goes to God and he says, why have we fallen into the hands of the Midianites and the Amalekites? You delivered us from Egypt, from the Egyptians, and here we are again in persecution. So God challenges Gideon to lead the people. He tells them, I want you to tear down the idol of Baal. Well, Gideon starts to bring all kinds of excuses why he can't do it. He says, actually tells God that he's from the weakest clan in Manasseh. And God challenges him, encourages him, and tells him, I'm with you. You can do this. Do not fear. You shall not die. Man, that's a good word. That's a challenge for us today. Many of us maybe feel today like we're under attack. We're going through difficult times, challenging times. And the last thing we're experiencing right now, really, and many of us are experiencing now, is peace. We're experiencing the opposite of peace. We're experiencing uncertainty. We're experiencing turmoil. We're experiencing strife and conflict. But that's not what God has for God's people. So he speaks into Gideon's life and he says, I'm with you. You're not alone. In fact, he calls him a mighty man of valor. And Gideon goes on to do what God has challenged him to do. He tears down that Baal and he comes against the Amalekites and the Midianites, and he sees God's hand work in and through him. But at one point in his conversation with God, God says this to him. He says, Shalom, peace be with you. Do not fear, you shall not die. Now, as we look even deeper into the meaning of that term and that expression, Shalom, we find out that it encompasses a lot of things. It means this. It means completeness. It means wholeness. It means health. It means peace. It means welfare. It means safety. It means soundness. It means tranquility, prosperity, fullness, rest, harmony. It's all encompassing expression. It's about finding wholeness in every aspect of your life, in relationships, in your finances, in your health, every aspect of your life. we are to experience Jehovah Shalom. So I want to encourage you and challenge you today. If you're going through a difficult time, if you feel like you're struggling and you're going through strife, allow Jehovah Shalom to speak life and strength into your circumstances and your situation right now in this moment today. He wants to meet you, and He wants to be your source of help and wholeness and health and peace. God bless you today, church.